Hello guys, this is Dark Fox Sage 2 and we are back with our new fanfic, which is What If Naruto Fell in Love with His Female Alternate Self Part 2. And if you enjoy this fanfic, then please press the like button and please subscribe to the channel. It motivates me to upload more fanfic like these for you all. Now let's start the fanfiction. Naruto was pissed off. The Root guys had managed to hurt him, taken Naruko away, and he knew without a doubt that Danzo was behind everything. It really pissed him off that Danzo thought that he could just take his younger self and turn her into an emotionless tool. None of that would happen under his watch. Now if he could only get rid of these guys. Naruto's wounds were still healing, but he was more than confident to get on the offensive. Naruto caught one of the attacking Anbu by the arm and brought him close enough to put his arm around his neck and snap it. The body hit the floor with a thud. 1 down, 3 to go. The other Anbu stopped attacking and jumped back a couple of meters as if realizing that he was stronger than he looked. 2 of the remaining Anbu started making hand seals. Naruto quickly disappeared and appeared in front of one of the guys, punching him hard enough to break his mask. The guy was sent crashing against a nearby tree. Naruto then turned around to see the other guy finishing his jutsu. Raiden. Jaibashi. The Anbu shouted. Electromagnetic murder. A wave of electricity shot from the Anbu's hands at an incredible speed towards Naruto. It hit the tree where he was standing, blowing it up. Gah! Naruto hit the ground and rolled heads over heels to a stop, his eyes open only to see the fourth and last Anbu in the air above him, ready to unleash another jutsu. Kaden. Goryuka no Jutsu. The Anbu shouted. Great Dragon Fire Technique. Naruto quickly rolled to the side, barely avoiding the fire dragon. He got on his feet and jumped away just as a lightning blast hit the spot he had been on. Grr. These guys are annoying. I have to kill them quickly and rescue my other self before Danzo gets his filthy hands on her, thought Naruto as he kept dodging the attacks. Naruto's wounds were completely healed by now. He started making hand seals. He finished just as a fire dragon was upon him. In a blink he was gone. The 2 remaining Anbu stopped and looked around, searching for Naruto. One of the Root Anbu heard a twig snap behind him. He quickly turned around just to see Naruto in front of him, inhaling deeply and then exhaling while spinning. Futon. Shinkaha. Naruto shouted. Vacuum wave. The 2 Root Anbu operatives could do nothing as the sharpened blast sliced through them with ease. The 2 hit the ground with a thud, trying not to whimper as their blood swept from their wounds. Naruto landed next to them. There is nothing I can do for them. Danzo brainwashed them to the core. The least I can do is to release them from their suffering, thought Naruto. Having dealt off with the Root guys, Naruto quickly sprinted towards where he had seen the Root captain go. It took him less than 5 minutes at max speed to reach a small clearing. What he saw there made his blood boil for the second time that day. In the middle of the clearing there was the Root captain holding an unconscious Iruka by the neck, ready to snap it. He was also holding the still passed out Naruko by his hip. Naruto charged towards the captain with the intention to kill him on the spot. Just as Naruto was about to punch him, the Anbu jumped back, successfully avoiding any damage. The Root captain saw Naruto and tilted his head a little. You are still alive. You bastard, release them now. HMPH. The Root captain threw both Iruka and Naruko hard against a nearby tree. If you want a job done, you have to do it yourself, he mused. With a swift motion he yanked his cloak off, revealing a full-geared Anbu ready for battle. He extended his hand and taunted Naruto to attack him. The next thing he knew was that he was flying through the trees courtesy of one of Naruto's punches. After sending the Root guy away, Naruto quickly made his way to check on both Iruka and Naruko, who were still passed out even after that throw. Maybe they had been put under some sort of genjutsu or something. He turned around when he heard footsteps behind him. The Root captain was up and ready for another round. The guy took his mask off a little to spit out some blood. He cleaned his mouth with his gloves and put the mask back on. It's been a while since someone managed to touch me. Now I have no remaining doubts that you killed my subordinates. Tisk. Seems all have to get serious. The root guy got in a fighting stance and once more taunted Naruto to attack him. Naruto gritted his teeth and this time he went straight for the kill. In an instant he was upon the root guy and just as he was about to land a killer Rasengan, the root guy disappeared. Naruto came to an abrupt stop and started searching around for his opponent. The next thing his mind registered was pain on his side before he was sent flying against some nearby trees. The Anbu had landed a hard kick on Naruto's side and before Naruto had hit a tree, he appeared and kicked him into the air before disappearing and appearing above him to land another strong kick that sent him spiraling towards the ground and before Naruto hit it, he once more appeared to give him a powerful punch which sent Naruto crashing against a tree. All in the lapse of 2 seconds. The root guy quickly started making hand seals ready to eradicate the problem in his mission. Shuriken Kage Bunshin no Jutsu. The root Anbu shouted while clasping his hands together. Shuriken Shadow Clone Technique. Hundreds of shuriken appeared in front of the Anbu and flew towards Naruto with extreme speed. Pieces of tree started flying everywhere as the shuriken onslaught kept going. It didn't took long before the tree itself collapsed upon the already downed form of Naruto. After the dust settled down, the Anbu took a look at his handiwork. He could see the tree full of holes and a hand coming out from below said tree. HMPH. Time to wrap this mission up. Lord Danzo is going to be angry I'm taking so long. The root operative started making his way towards both Iruka and Naruko. He stopped next to Iruka. Now, where were we? The root Anbu was about to grab Iruka by the neck when he felt a hand grab him by the ankle. He could see the hand coming from the ground and then Naruto's head slowly emerging from the ground as well. Let go. I got you now, bastard. Like hell you have. I said let go. The Anbu started kicking Naruto in the head trying to break free but soon his foot was caught by Naruto's other hand and subsequently he was pulled underground as well. Naruto then dug himself out while the root guy struggled to get free. You are wasting your time and energy. I have mixed some of my chakra with the ground around you. You are little more or less trapped in solid concrete. There is no way out. The Anbu keeps struggling trying to free his hands to make hand seals but the soil around them wouldn't move even a little. The guy swore under his breath. He looked up to see Naruto kneeling in front of him. I know who you work for and why you were after this girl. Naruto pointed at Naruko. But why try to kill Iruka who doesn't have anything to do with this? The Anbu keeps struggling completely ignoring him. Naruto let out a small growl. Answer me. No witnesses, remember, said the Anbu finally giving up. Naruto nodded his head. It made sense but there was something else that was bugging him. Also, there haven't been any more shinobi around. By this time our battle should have caught the attention of everyone. Naruto could almost picture the Anbu smirk under his mask but still he didn't answer. Growling no longer worked with him and Naruto was tempted to get physical. PFT, all of the shinobi were ordered to retreat by the council. As of now, she is on the verge of being marked as a nuke nin. It wouldn't have helped her much when the village found the bodies of both the silver-haired Chunin and that sorry excuse of a ninja that is behind you. All of this presented itself as a wonderful opportunity to snatch the most powerful weapon to Lord Danzo but you already knew that. Shame this is the first mission I fail. The Anbu let out a long sigh and then stared at Naruto directly in the eyes. You are not to know this and me to tell, but I'll tell you a little secret. The Anbu motioned Naruto with his head to get closer. Naruto hesitated but little by little he got closer to the trapped Anbu. You, that guy, the girl and myself won't see the day of another day because I am taking you all with me to hell. The Anbu started glowing bright. Naruto's eyes widened. He ran as fast as he could towards both Iruka and Naruko while cursing himself for not noticing that the guy's long explanations were nothing but tricks to buy time and mass chakra for whatever he was trying to pull off. He picked both Iruka and Naruko and sprinted towards where he believed the village was. 10 seconds after he started running there was a bright flash and then an immense boom. Naruto was thrown off his feet by the force of the explosion, and for a fraction of a second, he could see an immense fire wave approaching. If he didn't do anything, all three of them would be roasted. He started making hand seals as fast as he could. Doden. Chikyu Domu. He shouted and slammed his hands on the ground. Earth Dome. The incoming inferno was cut off his sight by the ever-rising wall of earth that started surrounding them. After the dome finished making itself, Naruto felt how the fire impacted his dome and keep going its way. A couple seconds later Naruto touched the wall of his dome only to retract his hand right away. The wall was super hot. After letting it cool for a couple minutes, Naruto made a hand seal to create a small hole in the wall which he used to look around and see if there was any more danger. Seeing that there was nothing else to worry about, he made a couple of hand seals to get rid of the dome. As the light started pouring into his lair, he had to close his eyes due to the brightness. After his eyes adjusted, he looked around the place and let out a whistle as he took in his surroundings. His dome was just a couple centimeters away of the crater the explosion had created. The area around them had been stripped off trees and he could see small pieces of burning wood falling from the sky all around him. A little further away, he could see the blackened remains of trees still burning. Too close for my liking. Naruto let out a sigh and picked both Iruka and Naruko up. He then hurried back to the village. On his way back, Naruto had found the partially burnt remains of the ANBU's white cloak. Inside it he found a bingo book, a couple thousand ryo and a summoning scroll. He let out a relieved sigh, then he saw that the scroll contained the scroll of seals. A couple of minutes later Naruto could see the wood cabin where he had been once tricked. Just as he was passing by the cabin, Naruto felt how Iruka started moving. He put him down next to one of the cabin walls. It didn't take long for the scarred Chunin to regain consciousness. My head hurts. Opening one eye, the academy instructor looked around trying to figure out where he was. Where am I? His eyes soon landed on Naruto, who was now carrying the half-naked Naruko bridal style. Hey, it's you. I see you got Naruko. Tell me you got the scroll of seals and captured that rat of Mizuki. I didn't quite captured Mizuki. You let that rat escape. No, he has been dealt with accordingly. I see. Looking around he noted that he was no longer resting against the tree and that somehow he had ended next to the cabin's walls. How did I get here anyways? What's the last thing you remember? I remember seeing you off and seeing that you had somehow found me. I thought more help would come sooner or later, so I waited and then nothing. Next thing I know is that I am here. I see. Did something happen? No. You just blacked out by your injuries. I found you and brought you here. That's all. Nothing more. Naruto didn't thought it would be productive to tell Iruka about his near-death experience against the root Anbu. He would start asking questions for which he didn't had the time to answer to. His priority was reaching the Hokage before Naruko was branded as a missing nin. Come on, we need to get going and return the scroll of seals to the Hokage before this mess gets bigger. Iruka nodded and tried to get up, but his injuries were preventing him from doing so. Naruto saw this and helped him get up. A couple of minutes later Naruto noticed that Iruka was slowing him down a great deal. Here, let me help you. Naruto made a hand seal and with a poof, a shadow clone appeared next to Naruto. He instructed it to help Iruka. With the extra help they were going at a nice pace once more. Naruto noticed that it wouldn't be long before they reached the gates of Konoha. A couple seconds later he felt his younger self stir up. He let out a relieved sigh. He was starting to get worried that she was taking too long to wake up. Naruko let out a groan and then started opening her eyes slowly. The first thing that assaulted her field of vision were the morning sun rays that filtered through the trees. She let out another groan and rubbed her eyes trying to get rid of the black spots. It didn't took her long to notice that she was being carried over by someone. The earlier events of that morning quickly invaded her mind. She started struggling and kicking, trying to get free, thinking that the white Anbu was still carrying her to who knows where. Let me go, you bastard, she said while kicking and punching everywhere she could. trying to deal as much damage as she could. Hey, calm down, it's me Naruto, chill out, said Naruto, trying to calm the girl now turned demon on his arms. Damn you to hell and everything you care about. Bastard, you aren't taking me any. Wait, what? Naruko opened both her eyes to see the familiar face of Naruto. One of her fists was also resting on his left cheek. Huh, ah. Naruko quickly retracted her fist from Naruto's face. I am so sorry, Naruto ni-san. I thought you were him. I didn't mean to hit you. Please forgive me. Naruto put the now more calmed girl down. He rubbed the places where she had hit him. Even though she looked weak, her punches did hurt. It's cool, I know you didn't mean to. He proceeded to turn around and smile at her as if assuring her that she was forgiven and there were no hard feelings. He saw her eyes lit up with hope and then with something akin to worry. I thought you were a goner. I mean, there were 4 of them against you, ni-san. You aren't mortally wounded, are you, ni-san? What? No. Of course not, it was pretty easy actually. Ah, you must be pretty strong, ni-san. Even I can tell that going against the Anbu, let alone 4, is no easy task. Forget that, it's suicide, but you managed to do it. She praised him. Naruto could see the admiration on his younger self eyes. It felt weird coming from her out of all people, but he slowly started feeling the joy that came from being praised. He sheepishly rubbed the back of his neck and let out a small grin. It was nothing really. Their conversation was cut short by an annoyed cough. I thought you said nothing had happened while I was out, said Iruka while being supported by the shadow clone. Iruka-sensei, said Naruko, who was now realizing that he was there next to them. It's a long story, Iruka. It will be best if you ask the Hokage after I give him my report. Iruka eyed both blondes suspiciously and let out a small sigh. Fine. Let's go. I thought you were in a hurry to talk to him. Yay, but now that she woke up, there is something we must do quickly before going into the village. What's that? Look at her. She can't enter the village wearing only a flak jacket. Iruka hadn't paid much attention to Naruko since he woke up. Now he noticed that she was indeed wearing only a flak jacket and she didn't seem to be wearing anything else under it. Said flak jacket also seemed to belong to the Naruto guy. He raised an eyebrow. How did she end up like that? Long story. Naruto made a hand seal and with a poof another shadow clone appeared next to him. Take this and go get her something to wear, said Naruto while handling the money he had gotten from the Anbu to the clone. The clone nodded and off it went. Now what? We wait. It took a good hour before the shadow clone returned. In that time Naruto had introduced himself to Iruka, saying that he was a newcomer to the village. They talked for a while Naruto kept avoiding telling them his last name. The shadow clone dropped a big brown paper bag at Naruto's feet before canceling itself. Naruto absorbed the clone's memories and nodded when he saw the reason why it had taken so long. Here, Naruko, this is for you, said Naruto while handling her the brown paper bag. What's is it? Even thought she knew what it was, she couldn't help but to ask anyways. It's a gift, hope you like it, Naruto said while giving her a smile. Naruko's eyes started to water. This stranger, while knowing almost nothing about her, was kind enough to give her something when no one else would. She gave a small peek at the bag and saw the clothing it contained. She pressed the bag hard against her chest and looked up to see Naruto. He patted her head with a kind of affection she couldn't name. Maybe it was because she didn't know any kind of affection beside the Hokages, but even then, she felt it was more like pity than anything else. With Naruto it felt different. Go get changed, we need to see the Hokage quickly, said Naruto. Hi. She quickly went to hide behind some trees. 5 minutes later, she came back wearing a whole new different outfit than the one she was known for. Her new outfit consisted of a fishnet shirt, black tank top, an exact copy of her orange jacket, black spandex shorts, a darker orange skirt with belt, fishnet in the knees and black high-heeled boots, as well as some wild underwear. Here, thanks for the jacket, ni-san. Naruto took the green flak jacket and put it on. No problem. How do I look? Shyly asked Naruko. You look awesome, said Naruto. Uruka closed his eyes and put his hand under his chin looking as if he was in some kind of thinking pose. He then opened his eyes and gave her a thumbs up. Really? Said Naruko. Yay. You look really pretty. Answer Naruto. Naruko had to turn around to wipe one tear off her eye. No one had ever told her she was pretty. The emotion she got from his praise was something totally new, but she found it of her liking. Come on, we have wasted too much time already. You can look yourself in a mirror when we reach the village, said Uruka. Naruko gave him a dirty look, way to ruin the moment. Right, let's go. Naruto picked up his younger self once more and speed towards the village. On the way, he was hoping that they could get there in time before she was marked as a nuke nin, and if things turned up for the worst, he was going to make sure that nobody dared to touch her. Uruka, Naruko and Naruto finally arrived at the gates of the village. Both Uruka and Naruko found it rare to see the guard booth deserted. Now that they look around, there wasn't anyone around for that matter. Where is everyone? Naruko asked. Beats me, answer Uruka. Everyone is gathering at the Hokage residence. It seems the Hokage is about to give an important announcement, said Naruto. How do you know that? Questioned Uruka. The shadow clone I sent earlier saw it. That's why it took so long to come back. Okay, come on, let's go, we are wasting time. The three of them hurried towards the Hokage residence as fast as they could. Hiruzen Sarutobi was pissed off beyond relief. Here he was walking towards the balcony to announce to the village that Uzumaki Naruko was being marked as a nuke nin. Even though he knew the truth and tried to show it with his crystal ball, the damn thing only showed interference. Both members of his council wanted hard evidence, which at the moment he couldn't provide. He was about to send them off, but when they threatened to go talk with the daimyo, it became a whole lot harder. Flashback. Sarutobi Hiruzen was sitting on his office watching the whole ordeal through his crystal ball. He had seen how Mizuki had admitted that he was the mastermind behind everything, how he had defeated Naruko in combat, how he was about to rape her, and how a mysterious guy he had never seen arrived. It really perturbed him that the guy was really similar to the Yondaime Hokage. He couldn't see more because someone knocked on his door. After letting her pass, he saw that it was his council plus Danzo. They just said that they needed to talk about the situation. It didn't took long before they got into a heated argument. So, you are letting her go just like you did with Orochimaru? Are you really that much of a fool to commit the same error twice? It was Kaharu. Letting her go with the scroll of seals nonetheless. What would happen if Orochimaru somehow got his hands on her? One stupidly powerful and disturbed shinobi plus a weapon of mass destruction that is the Jinchuriki. Both of them have reasons to hate this village and see it burn to the ground. It would certainly be the end, said an agitated Homura. The fastest we put her in the bingo book, the less chance there is for them to meet. Butted in Danzo. You have your choice to make, Sarutobi. You let that old senile heart of yours make the decision and damn us all, or by the first time in a long time, let that rational mind of yours make the choice and save everyone. Kaharu again. Now you listen. There is no way I am marking her as a nuke nin. Like it or not, deal with it. That's final, said a pissed Hiruzen. Very well, Sarutobi, expect a message from the fire daimyo soon, threatened Homura. Sarutobi sucked air through his teeth. Flashback end. His relation with the daimyo had turned for the worst after he heard about Orochimaru and how much of a threat the destruction of Konoha would mean for the fire country. The daimyo had given the explicit orders to deal with Orochimaru as soon as possible and had threatened Hiruzen to remove him from Hokage if he failed to do so. If the daimyo was to somehow learn about another powerful shinobi going renegade, it would certainly mean the end of his reign as Hokage. Worst thing of all is that Danzo would be elected as the next Hokage if that were to happen. With a heavy heart, he had made his choice. As long as he remained Hokage, there was a chance that if Naruko was found, her name could be cleaned and the criminals punished accordingly. Sarutobi had made sure that his way to the balcony was as slow as he could make it. He was really hoping that the unknown shinobi had been there to save Naruko and not an accomplice of Mizuki. With a heavy look he saw that he was a couple of meters from the balcony. His mind telling him that the only reason why Naruko hadn't show up already was because the shinobi had really been an accomplice or that Mizuki had somehow killed him. He couldn't be more wrong. He stopped walking when he felt two familiar chakra signals pop into existence in front of him. His personal Anbu quickly moving in between their master and the newcomers. He felt as if 20 years had been taken off his back when he saw a familiar girl with whisker marks. Gigi. Naruko run towards the Sandame. The Sandame motioned his bodyguards to stay at ease. He got on his knee and opened his arms to hug the girl he considered his granddaughter. Gigi, it was horrible. I swear it wasn't my intention. I didn't know Mizuki was a traitor. She then looked at the ground. I just wanted to graduate. It's okay, he said while patting her in the head. I know you would never betray this village. He then got up and looked at the two men that accompanied her. Lord Hokage, said Iruka while on one knee. Hiruzen could see how it was taking Iruka a lot of effort to stay that way due to his injuries. At ease Iruka. He saw how another man exactly like the blonde one helped Iruka up. A shadow clone, he thought. Lord Hokage, we have recuperated the scroll of seals and in the process found out that Mizuki-sensei was a traitor who used Naruko, said Iruka. I see. Please tell me the details. Iruka proceeded to tell the Sandame all he knew until the point where he blacked out. Then it was Naruko's turn to tell what had happened after she ran away with the scroll. The Sandame could see how she was shaking with anger at the memory of almost being raped. She told him with great pleasure about how Naruto roasted Mizuki, and when she was about to tell him about the Anbu, Naruto cut her off and said that he wanted to speak with him personally about what had happened next. The Sandame was weary of letting a shinobi posing as a Konoha ninja when he wasn't into his office, but seeing that he had helped Iruka and Naruko, he agreed. Please wait in my office, I'll be there shortly. Iruka, go to the hospital and get medical attention quickly. Hi. Iruka left to the hospital with the help of Naruto's clone. The Sandame left to give Konoha his announcement while both blondes left for the office. While in the office, both blondes could hear how the people outside were shouting for Naruko's head. Naruko knew they hated her, but this was way too much. She was afraid to go outside. She knew that as soon as they saw her, they would tear her apart. Naruto felt her uneasiness and put his hand on her shoulder, assuring her that everything would be fine. It took a while for the Sandame to come back. He got in his chair and let out a long sigh. He shook his head and then looked at the pair of blondes. They are very unforgiving when it comes to Naruko, said Blonde, shifted uncomfortably on her seat. Now tell me what happened next. Naruto got up from his seat in the couch and made his way towards the desk. He was about to talk when the door of the Hokage's office opened very suddenly and violently. In came three very pissed off people. Hiruzen let out another sigh. He wasn't in the mood to talk with his counsel and Danzo. What's the meaning of this, Sarutobi? You don't have any proof of what you said out there. We had an agreement. Koharu was seething. Just wait till the daimyo hears about you letting her go. Your days as Hokage are numbered. Homura was barely containing himself. Hiruzen could just feel how much Danzo was enjoying this, but it wouldn't last. Now he had two witnesses ready to talk. First of all, you just don't come into my office like that. Be glad I'll let this one slide. There won't be a next time. They could feel his killer intent. Second, Hiruzen motioned them to turn around. Here's my proof. Years of hardened experience helped Danzo not let his eyes widen in surprise after seeing Naruko sitting there in the couch like nothing had happened. Wasn't she supposed to be in his root headquarters waiting for him? Did the mission fail? How did it fail? It was foolproof. Thoughts like that ran through Danzo's head. It couldn't be said the same for the other two. They were surprised to see her sitting there like nothing had happened. A couple of seconds later Koharu spoke. What's the meaning of this? Is she a clone or something? What are you playing at Sarutobi? This is not a game. Naruko, please tell them what happened. The young girl proceeded to tell them about everything that had happened to her before Homura cut her off. She could be lying for all I know. Can you say the same about Iruka? Tell Inoichi to take a look at his mind. You will find that everything she has said is the pure truth. What about him? He pointed at Naruto. Who's him and where does he come into the picture? We were going that way before you decided to interrupt. Please be silent while she continues her explanation. Hiruzen motioned Naruko to continue. When he was trying to rape, they saw her hands ball into fists. Ni-san came to save me. He kicked Mizuki's ass. Right now, the bastard must be burning in hell. She added as an afterthought. What do you mean with that? Where is Mizuki? Questioned Kaharu. She was about to talk but Naruto cut her off. He's dead. I killed him. What? You killed a Konoha shinobi? Shouted Homura. An ex-Konoha shinobi. He was branded as such a couple hours ago. Cut in Hiruzen. Let me continue the story, Naruko, said Naruto. After I got rid of Mizuki, I was trying to help Naruko when he looked directly at Danzo. A group of Anbu dropped next to us, 4 Anbu plus a captain. Well, at least the Anbu found you, said Danzo. I'm not finished. Like I was saying, Naruto continued, the Anbu captain told us Naruko was under arrest and that she would be put to trial as soon as she set foot in Konoha. Naruto took a deep breath. I thought it sounded reasonable. I told them I would accompany them to testify on Naruko's favor. They agreed. It wasn't until we were halfway here that thing got ugly. What do you mean? Asked Kaharu. They tried to kill me. Both council's eyes widened in surprise. What? They tried to kill you? Asked an incredulous Homura. Yay. I was minding my own business when I felt a stabbing pain on my back. It didn't took me long to realize that the Anbu were attacking me. I tried to reason with them but they keep going after me. Then I saw how the Anbu captain knocked Naruko out and left with her. He stopped and continued after a couple seconds. Seeing that I couldn't reason with them, I fought and managed to defeat them. You beat 4 Anbu on your own. I don't believe you. You must be lying, said Homura. Naruto got up, took off his flak jacket and turned around. Deep cuts could be seen all over the back and sleeves of his bloodied blue shirt. His pants also spotted cuts all over them. Both Kaharu and Naruko gasped. You need medical attention ASAP, said Kaharu. I'm okay. Rest assured I won't bleed to death. He then took something from within his clothes and showed it to Homura. It was a green Anbu bingo book. Homura took it and started browsing through its pages. Where did you get this from? He said as he passed the book to Kaharu. After I defeated the Anbu, I went after the Anbu captain. I found him a couple minutes later trying to snap Iruka's neck. I saved him and proceed to battle the last Anbu. I managed to defeat him as well. You don't need proof for this one since the bastard tried to take us down with him. You mean, spoke Hiruzen for the first time in a while. He blow himself up. If you hurry up, you may still catch sight of trees burning around the crater the explosion left. I suggest you send a group to check before someone tries to cover everything up, said Naruto while looking at Danzo. He noticed how Danzo's body tensed a little after each word he spoke. As you can see, I managed to save everyone from the explosion. On the way back, I found the Anbu captain's cloak. Inside it I found money, the bingo book and this. Naruto took a small scroll out of his bag and proceeded to unlock its contents. The scroll of seals appeared in front of them. He took it and gave it to Homura so he could check its authenticity. Yay, it's the scroll, said Homura after checking it for a couple seconds. He handed it back to Hiruzen for safekeeping. We managed to reach the village and tell the Hokage everything. You know the rest, finished Naruto. Both Homura and Kaharu looked at each other and after a couple seconds both nodded. Very well, we believe you, both said in unison. Does that mean that I'm no longer considered a traitor? said Naruko, finally entering the conversation. No, you have been proven innocent, said Homura. Naruko somehow managed to keep herself from shouting in happiness. She settled in just giving a nod. It couldn't be said the same for Danzo. What? How can you believe him? He could be making this up for all we know. We are still going to ask a Yamanaka to check Iruka. What's more important, take a look at this book. Koharu handed the book to Danzo. As you can see, this bingo book is different than the one we give our shinobi. It has the names and info of people who could be or were a threat to our village. I said that because there are names crossed out, said Homura. So, isn't that a good thing? I mean, someone is helping us clear future threats. You are wrong, Danzo. While they may be doing it for the best, it doesn't change the fact that they are acting on their own and completely disregarding the Hokage's orders. That is treason in our books. It was Koharu. That doesn't change the possibility that he is or may be part of said group. Naruto gritted his teeth at that accusation. I don't think so. As you can see, they tried to kill him. We are sending a group of Anbu to check on the battlefield he mentioned and scan for any evidence, finished Homura. Danzo didn't said anything else after that. As for you, said Koharu while looking at Naruto, you have proven to be an invaluable help in this mess. Not only did you put your life on the line to get the scroll back, but you also saved the life of a fellow shinobi and the life of this girl. Konoha is proud of you. She finished. With your story and this, Homura pointed at the green bingo book, you have brought into light the doings of a group in our village of which none of us was aware of. For your hard efforts you will be given something of your like as long as it's within reasonable parameters, finished the guy. Thank you, said Naruto. Come on, let's go. We have to open an investigation and send a group to check on the battlefield this boy spoke of. Speaking of which, what's your name, boy? Koharu asked. Naruto. Name's Naruto. He answered. They stood there waiting for a last name. Naruto let out a sigh. He knew it wasn't going to be that easy. He turned towards Naruko. Hey Naruko-chan, could you please wait outside for a bit? Naruto said with a smile. Naruko looked taken back by the suffix. A small blush made its way to her cheeks. She nodded. Sure thing, Ni-san. She made her way to the door. It closed with a soft click. Naruto then turned his attention towards the remaining people. He raised a single finger. Kai. They saw how a couple but significant changes happened to Naruto's face. Where he once had green eyes, now Arctic blue ones were present. His once spotless cheeks now featured 3 whisker-like marks each. His once peaceful aura had drastically changed for one only a war-hardened shinobi who only knew death could have. His stare sent chills up the backs of both members of the council. My name is Namikaze Uzumaki Naruto. Complete silence fell over the small office. Naruto gave a quick glance at the people around him. He saw the shock in their eyes before something else replaced it. Taking a small glance at the Hokage himself, Naruto saw no emotion whatsoever. You are joking, right? Said Homura with a dead serious tone. First of all, I am not joking, my father was the Yondaime. I know this comes as a great surprise to all of you since no one knew about me. I just recently arrived to this village and I tried to explain Naruto before he was cut off by Koharu. Nonsense. The Yondaime didn't had a family. You are an intruder and possibly a spy from an enemy nation that somehow managed to enter the village. Anbu get him. Before Naruto could react, he was quickly surrounded and restrained by 4 Anbu. He started struggling trying to break free but to no avail. Danzo was slightly surprised by the turn of events but was quick to act. Anbu, take him to Ibiki, he knows what to do. Wait, shouted Naruto, who had stopped resisting and was now facing all of the higher-ups of the village. I know what I want. He said. What are you talking about? You have no rights and much less right to ask for anything. Said Homura. Your promise. Naruto saw the puzzlement look in the old man's face. He decided to enlighten him. You promised me anything I wished for rescuing Naruko and returning the scroll. I know what I want. I want you to give me the chance to tell you my story. He finished. That has been voided from the moment you told us such lie. Anbu, take him away, ordered Homura. Before the Anbu could take Naruto away, the Sandaime motioned the Anbu to wait. A promise is a promise, Homura. Let the boy talk. You can't be serious, why would you let him talk? All of us know the Yondaime didn't had any family. You are just wasting time, said Kaharu. I still want to hear what he has to say. Talk, boy. Thank you, Lord Hokage. This means a lot to me. Naruto took a long breath and calmly started talking. Well, here goes nothing, thought Naruto. First of all, I just want you to know that I understand your reaction. I was also greatly surprised when my master told me in a letter, you see. Naruto proceeded to tell them a story he had been making up since he first set foot on the village. He wasn't stupid enough to tell them what had really happened to him. They would send him straight to Ibiki for a really painful interrogation. He hoped they would buy his tale and let him wander around enough to find a way to go back on his own. If he came empty-handed, he would seek help from them. Quote, We traveled around the elemental nations for years. I thought our adventures would never end, but unfortunately my master died. At a local hospital, I was told it had been a heart attack. After the burial I took his stuff and I found a letter he had written for me. It told me who I really was and why he had been taking care of me for so long. After debating what to do, I decided to come here and look for answers. After finishing his tale, Naruto took a look at the people in front of him. He could see the shock in their eyes and their need to ask him every kind of questions. Naruto had to give himself a mental pat in the back. He had outdone himself with his little tale. Anbu, take him away. Tell Ibiki I need a report no later than today. It was the Sandaime. What? It was Naruto. The Sandaime looked at Naruto with hard, cold eyes. What you told us is the greatest load of bullshit I have ever heard in my entire life. I've been Hokage for longer than you have been alive and I can easily distinguish between lies and truths. The way you shift nervously in that spot, your sweaty hands and the way your eyes move from side to side. The Sandaime stood up from his chair and walked towards the window. I'll confess you something. When I first saw you through my crystal ball I couldn't help myself from seeing Minato in you. After you helped Naruko and brought her here, I wanted to learn more about you, and when you first told us about you being his son, a small light of hope was light in my heart. That was before your tale. Now I want nothing more but to learn why someone like you decided to come here and with what motives. Ibiki never disappoints me. The Hokage turned towards Naruto to see him one last time. Naruto didn't meet his eyes, his gaze was fixed to the floor. The Sandaime took it as an act of defeat, but before he could order the Anbu to take Naruto away, he spoke. Very well, Sandaime Hokage. Since you didn't buy my story, I'll have to show you instead. I'll be expecting you on training ground number 4. Before I leave, I just want you to know that I have my motives to lie to you all. Hiruzen was about to talk when Naruto started increasing his chakra level. Two of the Anbu restraining Naruto quickly moved away and got in front of the Sandaime, expecting some kind of assassination attempt on their leader, while the other two tried to stab Naruto. They were surprised when nothing more than a poof happened. Naruto was nowhere to be seen. What happened? Where is he? Homura questioned. He said he would be waiting for Sarutobi on the 4th training ground. Danzo answer. Hiruzen stated, walking towards the door, drawing the attention of the other people in the office. Are you going? Questioned Kaharu. You know it's impolite to keep someone waiting. Send Anbu, it could be a trap. That is why I am going. I am the leader of this village, I can't have some random shinobi wandering around. It would show I don't care about the village. Homura walked towards one of the Anbu and delivered some instructions. The Anbu nodded and disappeared in a poof. What did you ask him to do? Questioned the Hokage. I told him to bring reinforcements. They will accompany you. Like you said, We don't know anything about this, Naruto, better be safe than sorry. Hiruzen nodded and left the office. Homura, Kaharu and Danzo looked at each other before nodding and leaving the office. Naruko was sitting on a chair on the corner of the lobby. Maybe their shinobi wouldn't notice her, she thought. She should have known better. A couple of times she noticed some passing shinobi and the Sandame's secretary looking her way and muttering something she couldn't hear. Probably something nasty. Shifting uncomfortably on her chair, she decided to ignore everyone around her and think about something nice. There was a visible frown when she finished thinking. She pretty much discovered that everything nice that had happened in her life, she could count it with her fingers alone. My life sucks. Getting rid of the negative thoughts, she reassured herself that while those moments were not that many, they had a great impact in her life and shaped a little of her persona. It didn't took long for her to think about Naruto. Without a doubt, meeting him ranked on her top 3 spots. Now that she was thinking about him, she made a small list about what she knew about him. So far the only thing that she knew was his name, that he was really strong and that he was new to the village. A small idea formed. Maybe I can give him a tour around the village and learn a little bit more about him. Maybe, just maybe, we can be friends. Her mind toyed with the idea of making a new friend, a new bond, but another part of her mind told her not get her hopes too high. It was settled, she would ask him if he wanted a tour around the village. With nothing else to do again, she just sat there and started wondering why Naruto had told her to wait outside and why they were taking so long. As far as she knew, everything was settled. A couple seconds later she heard the door of the office open and the Hokage stepping out. She got up from her seat and went towards him. Gigi. She hugged him and then looked around. Naruto was nowhere to be seen. Her gaze rested on the office's door and after a couple of seconds a visible frown was adorning her features. She turned towards the Hokage. Where is Naruto ni-san? Hiruzen made a face. He thought for a couple of seconds before replying her. He left the office. I'm on my way to pick him up. The less she knew the better. Why did he do that? Where did he go? Naruko was puzzled. It's complicated. Just take a seat and wait until I come back. Okay. Naruko let go of the Hokage and did as she was told. She saw him leave the small lobby and patiently waited for both of them. What's taking them so long? It had been a while since the Hokage left and it was starting to worry her. Naruko was brought back from her musings by the sound of a loud grumble. It was her stomach. She decided to go to her apartment and pick something quick to eat. If she hurried up, she might be able to get back before they returned. The first thing Naruto saw after the smoke cleared was his clone standing a couple of steps away from him. After checking himself for any cuts or stuff, he let out a sigh. His variation of the reverse summoning jutsu was working just fine. Did you find it? He questioned. Yeah, was all the clone said before it poof out of existence. Naruto closed his eyes as his mind was invaded by the memories of the clone. It showed after leaving Iruka at the hospital and wandering around until it reached the Yondaime's home. It took it a while to get inside because of the anti-theft seals around the property. Naruto opened his eyes and looked at the bag resting next to him. He emptied its contents and nodded as he saw each item. Lying on the ground there a couple of kunai, shuriken, paper bombs and 10 of the special kunai used in the Hiraishin no Jutsu along with a new Jonin outfit, his father's. Naruto decided to clean himself on the lake next to the training ground before putting on the new outfit. After cleaning his face and removing the dry blood, Naruto removed his battle-worn outfit and put the new one on. He felt weird using the same outfit that his father had used when he was alive. He had to remind himself that the one he had been using had belonged to Minato as well. Not a second after he put the last of the kunai in his hip pouch, the fourth training ground was filled with Anbu ninja. Naruto looked around before his eyes caught a poof of smoke. After it dissipated, there stood Hiruzen in his Hokage robes. Glad you could make it, Lord Hokage, said Naruto in a friendly tone. Hiruzen didn't like how the boy was using their Jonin outfit. His desire to crack him open only increased. I do not know what are your motives to be here, but it has gone long enough. I have no qualms in eliminating you here and now, but you have piqued my interest. I want to know why are you here and who sent you. So come with us willingly. I think I'll take my chances, said Naruto before taking a relaxed battle stance. Hiruzen didn't like how things were looking. Only someone insane would act in such relaxed way, that or the individual in front of him knew there was no way he could lose. Hiruzen disregarded the last thought. There was no way anyone would enter a village and face alone 20+ Anbu level shinobi in the cage himself. Hiruzen could feel his Anbu tensing themselves for battle, waiting for his order to attack. His eyes caught Naruto, taking something out of his hip pouch and talking as he did it. It has been said that the Yondaime Hokage took on the entire might of Iwa's army by himself and lived to tell the tale. That he was the most powerful shinobi to have ever existed. I am sure that you have all heard that. Well, today I am here to show you just how awful things were if you were against him. Finished Naruto as he drew one of his special kunai. He could feel the shinobi tensing as their eyes rested on the three-bladed kunai. He saw Hiruzen narrow his eyes at the sight. So that is all this is about. You are here to steal the Yondaime's jutsu. Well, I won't allow it. Wrong. I have no need to steal what is mine. Come here and confirm that my story is real. Hiruzen was pissed. All this farce had gone long enough. He knew that the guy was bluffing. There was no way he knew the Hiraishin. With a nod, all the shinobi launched themselves at Naruto. Once Naruto threw the odd kunai in his hand, all hell broke loose. An Anbu with a snake mask was the first one to reach Naruto. He attempted to cut Naruto's throat with a well-aimed strike only to have his kunai hit nothing but air. All the Anbu who landed on the spot that Naruto had once stood started searching around. All eyes landed on the sound of a mask shattering. Naruto was standing next to a fallen Anbu shinobi. His hand posture indicated that he had backhanded the shinobi with enough force to knock him out. Naruto once more dug his hand into his hip pouch, taking another 6 of his special kunai. He held 3 on each of his hands, which then he balled into fists, giving the impression of having claws instead of fingers. Next, was all he said. The Anbu divided into 2 groups, each moving to Naruto's left and right. Naruto eyed both groups before noticing that 3 Anbu had remained in front of him. They started making hand seals. Kaden Renkejutsu. Karura, shouted the Anbu in the middle. The 3 shinobi breathed a long stream of fire which combined to form a flaming dragon that sped towards Naruto. Naruto threw all of his 6 kunai to the groups at his side. The speed he made the hand seals with was worthy of a cage. Naruto too shouted the name of his jutsu. Suiden no Jutsu. An enormous dragon made out of water rose from the lake and at blinding speed crashed with the other dragon. It quickly overpowered the fire dragon and kept going until it crashed with the 3 stunned Anbu. It dragged them into the lake before dissolving into water again. Naruto turned to his side only to see a katana 1 inch away from his eyes. In a flash he disappeared once more. The owner of the katana was highly surprised when he didn't feel the resistance of a skull against his weapon. The whistling of a kunai was all the warning he got before he was forced to block the incoming weapon from striking him on the side of his face. Once he heard the sound of clashing metal, he lowered his weapon only to see Naruto materialize out of nowhere in front of him. The Anbu was too slow to block a powerful blow to his gut. As he doubled over in pain, he was sent flying upwards by a powerful kick to the chin. Naruto took his falling kunai and threw it at a random direction before disappearing in a flash. Hiruzen couldn't believe what his eyes were showing him. His Anbu, the most powerful shinobi in Konoha, were dropping like flies before his own eyes. There was nothing they could do but to keep blocking the seemingly endless supply of 3-bladed kunai that kept coming their way. His eyes moved toward the sound of shattering ceramic before catching a glimpse of the same yellow hair that kept disappearing in a bright yellow flash. Hiruzen's brain was on overdrive trying to decipher the pattern in which the boy moved before coming to the conclusion that it was random with no pattern. He then saw an area with a couple of Anbu that hadn't been attacked yet. He timed his attack and as if on cue he unleashed his jutsu. Doryuden. A dragon-like head made out of mud formed next to him and started shooting bullets of concentrated mud. Naruto appeared in that instant with the intent of karate chopping the unsuspecting Anbu in front of him. His eyes widened and had to use his kunai to block the projectiles of hardened mud. Hiruzen saw his chance and increased the firing speed of his mud dragon. There was no way the guy would be able to block the incoming bullet hell. The Anbu that hadn't been knocked out or incapacitated saw their chance as well. They also started to make hand seals. Naruto saw this and gritted his teeth. This was taking too long, but he had to keep it up. He had to show Hiruzen that he could back up his claims of being a namikaze, and there was no better way than to use all the jutsu his father knew. That is, if they didn't kill him first. Naruto was starting to grow tired with blocking the mud bullets, and things didn't look that good with more Anbu starting to unleash all kinds of stuff on him. He could easily teleport somewhere else but decided against it, opting instead to use another jutsu. Dropping his kunai for a second, he made the needed hand seals, taking a couple of painful shots in the process. Jikuken Kekai. Naruto muttered to himself. A spider-like web of seals started spreading out of the kunai. The newly made barrier absorbed the countless mud bullets and a number of fireballs. The Anbu stopped attacking at the sight of the most powerful jutsu they had ever seen. Impossible," was all that Hiruzen said. A couple of seconds later he cancelled his mud dragon jutsu. Naruto smirked. "Are you ready?" he questioned. With a single hand gesture he unleashed his time-space barrier second ability. The Anbu who were close to the discarded Yondaime's kunai were painfully reminded of their existence when countless mud bullets started coming out of them. There were those unfortunate enough to receive fireballs instead. The remaining Anbu were quickly dispatched by their leader's own jutsu. Hiruzen could only cringe at the thought of having used his shuriken cage bunching no jutsu instead. He would have killed all his own subordinates. After examining the battlefield, Naruto saw that the Anbu were not going to wake up anytime soon. Dusting non-existent dust from his shoulders, he started walking towards the Hokage. He stopped a couple feet away from him but close enough to hold a conversation. "Well, it seems like now we can talk like civilized people." Naruto motioned with his arms his surroundings. "Sorry about the mess, but it was necessary." Hiruzen wasn't sure how well he would fare against a user of space-time ninjutsu, much less one that could use the Yondaime's jutsu. He met Naruto's eyes. "Who are you? What do you want?" he questioned. "There are many things I want." Hiruzen took this as an act of hostility. "But, what I want the most, is a way to go back home." Being the Rokudaime Hokage is a close second. Hiruzen was taken back. The stranger was now spewing nonsense. He was officially insane. "You probably think I'm crazy or something. Look, I know we got on the wrong foot back there. I know it was partially my fault for lying to you with that story, but it was more believable than the truth." Hiruzen narrowed his eyes at that. Naruto knew he had bitten the bait. "Go on, I'm listening," the Sandaime said. "First of all, I want you to listen and don't ask questions until I am done. A difficult task, I might add. You see, I am from the future." "Bullshit. I told you to listen and don't speak until I am done. I told you it wasn't going to be easy. You would have gotten it easier if you had believed my first story. Now listen." Hiruzen resisted the urge to kill him on the spot. The more rational part of his brain told him that it might be possible. Since the guy looked like he was an efficient user of time-space ninjutsu, he might have fucked something up when he was using one of his jutsu. As far-fetched as it sounded, it was the best explanation he had at the moment, counting on that the guy was speaking the truth. "Well, let's start by the beginning, shall we?" Hiruzen resisted the urge to roll his eyes. Where would be a good starting point?" Naruto mused out loud. Hiruzen patience was wearing thin. Your real name would be a good starting point, commented Hiruzen. You already know it. My name is Namikaze Uzumaki Naruto. Known as Uzumaki Naruto for the first 16 years of my life. Here we go again, thought Hiruzen. You still don't believe me, do you? Remarked Naruto. No. Fine. I will have to tell you something that would prove it. Let's see. My mother was Uzumaki Kushina. Hiruzen's brow raised a couple of millimeters. That wasn't proof enough. Someone who dug enough would have come to that bit of info. Seeing the skepticism on Hiruzen's face, Naruto kept talking. She was the second Jinchuriki of the Kyuubi, Mito Uzumaki being the first. Hiruzen's brow was raised a little more. That wasn't exactly common knowledge, but it still wasn't enough to convince him. Naruto saw this and decided to keep revealing tidbits of info. The scroll of seals, I can tell you what is in there. After all, Tsunade herself let me read it. The jutsu it contains are Kage Bunshin no Jutsu, Shiki Fujin, Hachiman, Geto no In, Fu, Geto no In, Ran, Geto no In, Kai, Dohatsuden, and the worst of them all. The Kuchiyos, Edo Tensai. How do you know that? Only the Hokage is allowed to see that scroll. Things had gone from bad to worse in Hiruzen's mind. If the boy in front of him knew any of those techniques, he was in deep trouble. Calm down, as I told you before, I come from the future. A future where Senju Tsunade is Godime Hokage and I'm her candidate for successor. I am possible. So, all the things you have seen up to this point were nothing more than mere illusions. The Hiraishin no Jutsu, the Jikuken Kekai. If that's not enough, I can perform the Rasengan, or do you want me to tell you the events that will happen in the next 6 years? Throw me into jail and sit tight as you watch all of it come true. Naruto's patience was wearing thin. Hiruzen was a hard nut to crack. Naruto decided to use his triumph card. Okay, if this doesn't make you believe me, then nothing will. Hiruzen recuperated quickly from his small outburst and met Naruto's eyes. What are you planning to do this time? It seems that nothing I show you can make you change your opinion of me being a liar. Well, this time you won't hear it from me, you will from someone you can't question. You mean? He let the question floating in the air, dreading the answer. That's right. Now behold, as I use the Kuchiyos, Edo Tensai, to bring my parents back from the dead. You can then question them all you like about their motives. Naruto then started making hand seals. He was bluffing by all means. There was no way Naruto would use such a foul jutsu that violated all laws of nature, human morals, and specially not use it on his parents out of all people. That is impossible. There is no way you can do it. Minato has been sealed inside the Shinigami himself. Naruto stopped midway his jutsu. He met Hiruzen's gaze and let out a smirk. Watch me. The Kuchiyos I use has no limits. It has been perfected beyond any seals. Not even the Shinigami can stop me. That was also a lie. Not even he could get past the Shinigami. Hiruzen saw as Naruto kept on making the familiar hand seals. Even if the guy was telling the truth or not, deep down Hiruzen knew he was done for. There was no way he could beat someone with advanced knowledge in space-time ninjutsu, full user of the Yondaime's tech, and certainly not anyone who could use a vast arsenal of forbidden jutsu, especially a perfect Edo Tensai. Maybe if he was 40 years younger. Right down and there, the Sandaime knew that Naruto was not someone he wanted as an enemy. Stop. I believe you, said the Sandaime just as Naruto was about to slam his hand on the ground, signaling the completion of the dreaded Kinjutsu. You do? Asked Naruto with skepticism. The Sandaime gave a nod in response. Naruto let out a sigh and got into a relaxed stance. He walked towards the Hokage until they were face to face, and without a word he kneeled before him. Hiruzen was surprised by the boy's actions. I am sorry for all the trouble I have caused you, old man. I really didn't want it to go all the way to this, but it was the only chance I had for you to believe me. I figured out that if my first story didn't convince you, then a show of the skills my father had left me would do the job. It didn't work as much as I would have liked it to. Info was my next best choice and it didn't work either. As a last resort I attempted to use that jutsu, but rest easy, I can't do it. I was bluffing. Hiruzen was taken off by the confession. You were bluffing. He received a nod from Naruto. Yeah, if it makes you feel better, I can't use any of the kinjutsu in the scroll either, save the Kage Bunshin. Then, why didn't you told us the truth in the first place? Why let all of it grow to this? Hiruzen was a little angry. Would any of you have believed me if I told you I was from the future? Without any proof but my word. He didn't get any answer. I thought so. Naruto got on his feet and walked a couple feet away from the sandaime. Besides, it's not like I can go telling people what is going to happen in the next 6 years or so. You never know where spies are or who is really on your side. I see your point. What I really want to know is why you are here. Are you in a mission? Did Tsunade send you? Did something happen to the village? Well, if I had been on a mission, that would have been the first thing I would have told you instead of making stuff up. Hiruzen felt a bit stupid for asking that. Certain things did happen, but I seriously don't think this is the place to tell you. So, let's go back to my office, then you can tell me everything. No lies this time. Naruto nodded and started following the sandaime back to the office. He stopped walking and then looked around. What about them? He pointed at the Anbu scattered around the field. I don't sense anyone dead or in need of immediate medical attention. You did a good job. So, you saw through it. Not killing any of them. Yeah, I found it suspicious. Come on, let's go. Both headed towards the office once more. On the way back, Naruto was a little worried that some shinobi would try to attack him, but after a reassuring look from the Hokage, Naruto relaxed. It didn't took long for the both of them to reach the Hokage tower. After some small talk with the passing shinobi, both reached the office's lobby. They thought it was weird that Naruko wasn't around. I wonder where she went, thought Naruto. Hiruzen instructed his secretary to not let anyone disturb them while in the office. After checking that no one else was inside the office, Hiruzen put up a sound suppression seal. He motioned Naruto to take a seat while he took his place as well. Well, then, let's try this once more, shall we? Yeah, just ask, I'll answer to the best of my abilities. The first question is, why are you here? Naruto met the sandaime's eyes and let out a sigh. The truth is, I do not know. What do you mean you don't know? Naruto took a deep breath and started explaining his situation to the sandaime. You see, it all began yesterday. My yesterday. Naruto clarified, after seeing the puzzled look on the village's leader. He continued. I had just came back from Suna with my genin. We had been helping with repairs around the village. You see, it was destroyed. Hiruzen's eyes widened. How could one of the great 5 shinobi nations have been destroyed? How? It was destroyed in war by a single individual. Hiruzen couldn't believe that. Naruto must have been playing jokes on him. It's quite impressive what someone can do with a really big ass bomb. Naruto added as an afterthought. Moving on, that morning I was bored out of my mind, so I decided to challenge my best friend to a fight. Sarutobi decided to ask Naruto more about the war later. It was precious info that would help with the shaky relations between the two villages. Why would you do that? I don't want to boast or anything, but he is the only one who can give me a real challenge. Here as you see me, I am the most powerful man in the village. You have seen what I am capable of. Hiruzen had to agree. He had seen his jutsu arsenal. Naruto continued to tell him about his day until the point where he went to sleep. This is where things got weird. I woke up after a nightmare and decided to take a shower and eat some ramen. So far so good. After failing to think about something to waste time on, I decided to take a walk around the village. Again, so far so good. Stuff changed when I saw Mizuki jumping from roof to roof shouting about Naruko stealing the scroll. This threw me for a loop since Mizuki had been dead for a while. I thought it might have been a prank, but when I started seeing a bunch of shinobi jumping around trying to find her, I came to the conclusion that it was some sort of twisted replay from the events that had happened the night I learned the Kage Bunshin. You see, Mizuki had also used me to steal the scroll. Since I knew what was going to happen, I speed towards the forest. I found Aruka half dead and then went after Mizuki. He revealed some info that made me finally accept that I had indeed traveled back in time. You know the rest, Lord Hokage. Naruto finished his tale. Hiruzen couldn't believe what the boy had told him, and he knew, just like Naruto, that he needed to know what was it that Mizuki had told him. What did he tell you? He told me that Naruko was the Jinchuriki of the Kyuubi. Hiruzen didn't understand how that had helped Naruto come into terms about his time-traveling experience. How did that help you? Naruto didn't answer. He simply got up, moved away from the desk, and still facing the Hokage. He lifted his right sleeve in his shirt, revealing his stomach. Sarutobi was about to ask him what he was doing when something he never considered possible happened. Naruto's arm grew seals, and on his stomach an unfamiliar seal appeared, signaling his status as a Jinchuriki. On Naruko, this should be the Hake no Fuin Shiki. This is a far stronger seal used to contain the Kyuubi. Sarutobi's eyes widened far bigger than ever, and before he could regain his speech ability, Naruto continued. I guess a small demonstration is necessary. Naruto concentrated a little, and then a sudden flash illuminated the whole office. Hiruzen had to close his eyes, and when he opened them he had to suck a deep breath in. In front of him, there stood Naruto in his Nine Tails chakra mode. To make things look even more real, he made 9 tails out of chakra. The power he radiated was incredible. Unbelievable, isn't it? If Hiruzen still had any remaining doubt about Naruto, it was crushed under such display. Naruto quickly reverted back to his original state. How is this even possible? Hiruzen slumped on his chair. He was too old for all this. Like I told you, I come from the future. A future when I managed to control the Kyuubi. Hiruzen locked eyes with Naruto. He had one last question. What about Naruko? I haven't heard anything about her in your story. Is she able to do the same? Naruto made a face. Hiruzen took it as if something had happened to her. You see, that's the problem. There is no Naruko, just me. What? Hiruzen said in an incredulous tone. Don't you come from the future? If you do, then she should be there as well. That's the thing, she just doesn't exist, only I do. I was also surprised when I found out about her. Silence reigned on the small office. After a couple of minutes, Sarutobi spoke. Have you considered the possibility of you not coming exactly from the future? He questioned. What do you mean? What I am trying to say is that you might come from a different reality or dimension. One where you are Naruko, but in male, obviously. I kinda get it. Hiruzen got up from his seat and walked towards the window. For countless eons, people of all kinds have wondered about time travel in different realities. Is it possible? What risk could it carry? All sorts of things. I guess that was the starting point for time-space ninjutsu. As you know, that kind of jutsu creates small pocket dimensions, like the ones you use on storage scrolls. From there some started wondering about such thing. Are there other dimensions apart from ours? If so, are they the same or are they different? What makes them different? Are they products of our decisions or are we the product of theirs? You know all that stuff. Hiruzen took a long look at Naruto. You being here proves that there are indeed other realities or dimensions. It still doesn't tell me why I am here. I guess only time will tell. Hiruzen took his seat once more. Naruto did as well. I will help you to the best of my ability to get back to your time reality dimension. I know you want that. I would. Thank you, Lord Hokage. It means a lot to me. Now, let's see about what you will be doing while we find a way back for you. Naruto nodded. We also need to find something believable to tell the council. What? Wasn't my story good enough? No. But we could use some elements of your story to create a new and better one. Naruto nodded once more and then both started brainstorming about possible scenarios. That brings up the point about Naruko. If we proceed with the fact that you are indeed the Yondaime's son, that would make her your sister. My sister, huh? You don't like the idea? No, it's not that, it's just the fact that I had always wanted to have a family. It's awkward that the sister I always wanted will be myself but in female. I see. Well, I know she wants a family as much as you do. I think it would do her good. God knows she has had it rough all her life, but meeting you will change it for the better. It will kill two birds with one shot. You will be both her family and her protector. Okay, I can't wait for her to call me Oni-chan. Naruto joked. Believe me, she will. Now, where will you both live? Her apartment isn't big enough to hold two people. Well, you could always give us her inheritance. I know for a fact that my parents left me with enough money to live carefree for a couple of years along with Jutsu and their home. You are right. As her legal guardian and brother, you also have access to that. I'll let the bank know about the changes. Well, that settles things. We just need to let the council and Naruko know your official story. Right. Well, I'm out. Before Naruto could leave the office, Hiruzen stopped him. Before I forget, please come back when you have finished moving. I would like to talk with you about your past and compare its events with ours. I need to know if they are the same, and only then we can start looking for possible solutions. Alright. Both left to their respective destinations. Naruto was looking for possible ways to break the good news to his sister. He replayed in his mind possible ways he would have liked for this to happen to him. He picked one just as her apartment came into view. He dropped in front of her door and knocked once. He was greatly surprised when the door fell off its hinges. What the? Hello, Naruko. You there? He called into the dark. After failing to receive an answer, he decided to enter the small apartment. Anger boiled through his veins at the sigh. Saying that that apartment looked like a war zone would have been something nice to say. Everything was destroyed. There were huge holes in the walls along with the ever-present ugly graffiti. Walking into the kitchen, he saw glass scattered everywhere. Broken pots and pans as well as bended silverware. The refrigerator and stove were beyond salvageable. He left the kitchen and headed towards the bedroom. The sight was even uglier. The ceiling had caved in. Graffiti covered the walls along with a dirty mattress which had been torn open and sheets stained with something Naruto didn't want to identify. On the floor next to his feet, he saw the remaining of what had once been an orange jacket. Naruto bended and took the piece of cloth. He was seething with rage. Not even in his time the villagers had gone this far. He left the destroyed apartment through the ruined ceiling. Once he was out, he got into a meditating pose and quickly gathered enough natural energy to activate his sage mode. A quick sweep through the village revealed her location close to the 20th training ground. He got up and made his way towards her. Naruko was sitting against a tree. She had stopped crying a while back. She had expected the villagers to vandalize her apartment, but not to the extent they did. It was inhabitable by all means. Not only did they stole the little food she had, but they had stolen Gama-chan as well. It had her life savings. She had started to ponder on her situation. Was it really worth it to spend all her life trying to prove her worth to the village when it was clear that they hated her? Would they even respect her for who she was and not for what she might be able to do? The resolve she had made last year came back to bite her. After all, she had promised to stand her ground and take everything they might felt like throwing her way. She wasn't so sure now. If she left, the villagers would be happy and she might be able to find happiness somewhere else. After all, it was not like anyone would miss her. Maybe the Hokage would. The idea was tempting, but she knew just as well that happiness was not the only thing she might find out there. She might very well walk into an even worse hell. She could end up as a slave or killed off by a nuke nin. Even worse, she might end up like someone's plaything. That was not a risk she was willing to take, maybe when she was a bit stronger. She let out a sigh, at least here she had the Hokage. The sound of a twig snapping stopped her from musing longer. She had company. Looking up, her eyes meet an identical pair of blue eyes like her own. A smile quickly spread across her face. Naruto ni-san. She quickly got up and dusted herself off. She walked closer to him. What are you doing here? I thought Gigi was looking for you. Yeah, he was. We talked for a bit and settled things. That's nice. So, is there anything I can do for you? Yeah, look. I'm sorry for what happened to your home. Naruko frowned. So, you saw it. Yeah, I was looking for you and I went to your apartment. I'm sorry about it. Silence reigned for a couple of seconds. Looks like we are both a pair of homeless people. She gave him a questioning look. What do you mean? Well, I did told you I was new to the village, I still haven't found a place to live. I was hoping you would help me find a place. Naruko frowned once more. Why would you ask me to help you? Me out of all people. Well, I have a sister, about the same age as you and I thought that you might have the same taste. Whatever house you pick, I'm sure she will like it as well. Naruko looked surprised for a moment. Oh, I see. I bet she must be proud of having a strong brother like you. Naruko quickly covered her mouth with her hand. Sorry, that came out of the blue. Anyways, sure I'll help you out. By the way, what's her name? If I can know, of course. Naruto gave her a smile. Of course. Her name is Uzumaki Naruko. Sister of Uzumaki Naruto, here present. Naruto pointed at himself. The look of extreme surprise and disbelief on her face made Naruto think that perhaps he had overdone it. WWWHA was the only thing her stunned brain managed to come up with. If you remember, I told you I was new to the village. You see, I came here to look for my family. He gave her an even bigger smile. And it seems like I finally found you, Naruko-chan, or should I say, Imouto-chan. Naruto dropped into one knee and extended his arms. Come here, Imouto-chan, your brother is waiting for you. Naruko didn't move for a couple of seconds, but when she did, she launched herself at Naruto. She quickly hugged him like her life depended on it while bawling her eyes out. Oni-chan. She managed to blubber out. Naruto was hugging her as well. Do not worry ever again, my little sister. I am here and nothing will ever be able to separate us. He whispered into her ear as she kept on crying.